All right, let's see what happened there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Good morning. See how my connection is here. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Greetings, greetings. Come on in. Good morning. I think I was having a bad connection at first, but I think we got it right. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, it looks good now. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. You know, I'm a little early. I come on, for those of you that have been with us for a while, I come on about 5 minutes ahead of time to make sure that everything is working right. Good morning to you. Good morning. In fact, let me just try something here. Good morning. Good morning. I need to add something. Good morning. Hit that share button. Somebody let them know we're here. Let them know we're here. We're here. Hit that share button. Hit that retweet button. Hit whatever button. Let them know that we are here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I see some familiar names there. I don't do the shout outs on these. I just because there's so many people to shout out. But good morning to you. I'm glad to see everybody. Hit that share button. Hit that retweet button. I've got a lot on my mind. And I see Facebook is having some issues this morning. Nothing affecting the broadcast, just some internal stuff. Good morning. Good morning. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Glad to see you. Can't believe a week is gone by already since the last time I was on here. Good morning. Let me know where you're coming from. I'm looking at all these different places. Let me know where you're coming from. Good morning to you. Greetings to you. As I used to say to my students every day, Hotep. Hotep, I'd say Hotep to my North Tech family, Hotep to my Sojourner Truth Middle School family, Hotep to my Hubbard Middle School family, Hotep to my Patrick F. Healy Middle School family, Hotep to my Ashland School family. I've worked in a lot of schools as a teacher and a principal. So that was just another way of greeting. In fact, that was my primary way of greeting my students. We just gave them the ancient Kemetic greeting of peace, which was Hotep. And I taught them that word among a whole lot of other words, a whole lot of other concepts. So good morning, good morning. Those of you who are new, I'm kind of just stalling and saying good morning because it's not time yet. So somebody might be thinking, man, when's this guy going to start? I'm going to start on time. Oh, I got my phone right now. Let me just add something here very quickly. Good morning, everybody. I'm just writing something very quickly. Bear with me. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's about 10:59. We're getting ready to get it started. I got so much to talk about. Let me just put this in here. Week 11. And that should do it. Hopefully my spelling is correct. There we go. I'm good now. Good morning, everybody. It's about 11 o'clock, and I think that means it's time. So enough with the preliminary. Let's get it going. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you. And I don't know about you, but I'm on fire. and I'm ready to have a strong hour with you. So let's jump right into it. Facebook, hit that share button. You notice how I changed it over a matter of 2 seconds because now we live. We ready to go. So Facebook, hit that share button for me. Keep hitting it because I need APs in here. I got to let you in on, I'm making some adjustments, not for the summer, but I'm going to let you know moving forward. Not adjustments. We just going to keep this thing going, but I'll talk about that later. Hit that share button. Twitter, hit that retweet button. And YouTube, I don't know if you can share from there or not. I forgot to check, but whatever you could do, just let folks know that Principal Kafele is in the building. He's talking about assistant principal leadership through the Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. I've got a lot going on today, folks. I got a lot of information here I want to share. For those of you who are new to me, I do a few brief announcements. The announcements are relevant, though, so I don't want you to check in late saying, he's going to do these announcements, so I don't need to check in on time. No, be on time, because sometimes these announcements are one-timers, and you may not hear them again, so I want you guys here on time. But first and foremost, I always tell you what I'm wearing. Negro Leagues. Right. So we got the Birmingham Black Barons today out of Birmingham, Alabama. And I wear these shirts with pride. As I tell you, all my broadcasts, someone asked me when I was a guest somewhere yesterday, they said, where's your jersey? I said, nah, that's only when it's my show. Right. So my broadcast, I wear these Negro League jerseys. I got a closet full of them. So this, again, is the Birmingham Black Barons. Right. Do your research and find out about the Negro Leagues if you're unfamiliar or if you don't know the team. Why there was a Negro League. I talk about it every week, so I won't bore you with that today, the new people, but do your research and discover why this is so significant and why I would sit here and say I wear these jerseys with extreme pride, right? Secondly, COVID wellness check. We're in the midst of a pandemic, and I'm talking to educators today. So this is kind of twofold. Usually I talk about it just in terms of you guys doing the right thing, making the right decisions, etc., taking care of yourselves. But we hit that a little harder at the end of the broadcast. But right now, one of the top stories in the world is returning back to school, as they call it, schools reopening. And that's a huge story. So as you're listening to me, obviously, you need to be listening through a couple of different ears, right? Like the ear that says me, meaning you, me as assistant principal back when school reopens in the building, but also me as assistant principal going back to the virtual instruction and learning, right? So we don't know what that's going to be, or maybe hybrid. And I don't have a problem putting my own thoughts about reopening schools. I'll put it out here. I don't want to get heavy into this, but I'm just going to put it out there so that everybody knows where I stand. As long as there's a pandemic, as long as students and staff run the risk of contracting COVID-19, a virus that I had and my wife, and I even went to get tested again just to make sure that's what I had, and I did. Right, then I'm not an advocate of young people and staff going back to school. That's just my position. You don't have to agree with it if you don't want to, or you can agree with it. But my position is that with this pandemic being out here and with all these states spiking as they are, it doesn't seem to me that school is the place for people to be right now, because looking at the CDC guidelines, I don't know how that protects people. But but again, that's not the purpose of this broadcast. But I just, since you guys tune in every week, I would be remiss if I didn't at least tell you my feelings, right? My feelings don't impact any school district out there. I don't think. Maybe there are some people that tune in and say, well, let's hear what Kafele has to say. Then fine. But I just wanted to put it out there. But other than that, take care of yourselves regardless along the way. Next, I always tell you, first of all, thank you. That's the first thing. Thank you to the thousands of people that own this book, The Assistant Principal 50, my newest book, released May 25th, and thousands have been sold. It's in its second printing because it sold out of the first printing before it was purchased. But for those of you that don't have it, I got to strongly recommend it to you, right? It coincides with this academy and what I will be doing in the fall, winter, and spring moving forward, right? So get your hands on this. Anywhere books are sold, education books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or the publisher itself, ASCD, ascd.org. Get your hands on it, but there's a companion to it. the aspiring principal 50. If you're an assistant principal that aspires to become a principal, then you need this book just as much as you need this book, right? So get the two of them, right? The aspiring principal 50, the assistant principal 50. They are two totally different books. I don't want you to think that when you read one, you're getting what's in the other, because you're not. They do not overlap. They just complement one another. Let me keep it moving. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel called School Leadership Thoughts. Please subscribe to it so that you don't miss a thing. As I place videos, or as the young people say, drop videos onto the channel, I want you to have access to them. I want you to know that they're there as soon as they come out via your email. Next, I've got 10. I'm going to do this quickly. I got 10 engagements this week, 10 events this week. I can't talk about them all because it's too many, but I just want to highlight 3. Number 1, I'm keynoting the ASCD Summer Virtual Conference on July 17th. That's this week. I don't even know what day of the week it is, but it's the 17th in the morning. I'm the keynoter. There's over 10,000 people registered. So if you're not registered, be 10,001. Register for that conference. It's free. It's 2 days, July 16th, July 17th, and I will keynote the morning of the 17th. And yes, I will be bringing the thunder and the lightning, right? So just make sure that you're there. Next, the Black Educators Rock Conference. That's July 16th through 19th. This is a conference where the focus is on the Black child. So there's just this preponderance of Black speakers, Black educators who have done big things relative to working with Black children throughout the country. So you want to, but it's not for, but in terms of audience, it's not for Black people solely. It's for everybody that teaches at least one Black child, one Black or brown child. That's for you. Black Educators Rock Conference. It's at rockconference.org. rockconference.org. I'll be speaking, but I don't know what day. We got to figure that out, but I'll be there. Right. And then lastly, my School Leadership Institute. That's my institute where I'm not talking assistant principal leadership. I'm talking school leadership, principal leadership, I should say, on July 15 and 16. Go to my website at principalkafele.com. Scroll down to where it says 3rd Annual School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. Click that, register, and I'll see you on the 15th, the 15th and 16th. 9 to 12. So you see, just from them 3, I got a busy week because they're all on the same dates, right? So I got a lot of stuff going. So make sure you do that. Other than that, I'm done with these announcements. I'm ready to jump in here. As I always say, the overarching question for this academy, everything is self-reflective for any newbies that may be here this week. We said, does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? Once again, that is the overarching theme of this 18-week academy. Does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? Right? That's the question. I'm not asking you, does it benefit in terms of discipline? I'm not asking, does it benefit in terms of loading and unloading buses? I'm not asking, does it benefit in terms of how you supervise the cafeteria during the lunch periods? I'm asking, is there something about your leadership that benefits your school academically, right? So that's the overarching question for all 18 weeks. But for today, I'm covering questions 11 and 12 in this book, The Assistant Principal 50, from chapter 2. The 2 questions are, is there a correlation between my supervision of teachers and their continual improvement in instruction? Let me read that to you again. Is there a correlation between my supervision of teachers and their continual improvement in instruction? So that's my focus today, along with question B. We'll call that question A, and here question B. Am I a professional development resource for staff, right? Am I a professional development resource for my staff? So that's where my focus is today. This is week number 6 of instructional leadership. I hope I've been thorough, or at least thorough enough for the many of you who have been tuning in. In fact, let me know on the thread, because I read all of these comments. Last week is like 1,000. but I read them all. Let me know those of you who have been with me for the whole time. If you've been here, if this is your 11th week, I don't mean the ones who've been with me for 10 weeks. I mean the ones who've been, this is 11 week and you've been riding with me since week 1, May 4th. Just throw that on the thread so I can see who's been able, because I don't want to say who's committed because people may have had other obligations, but who's been able to just hang out with us, with me, every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern time thus far. Let me know who you are. Let's jump into it. I gave you an assignment last Saturday. I said, how will I maximize my utilization of pre and post observation conferences in my overall practice? Let me repeat that. How will I maximize my utilization of pre and post observation conferences in my overall practice? So in other words, last week, we spent an hour talking about the pre and post observation conference, and we said it was unavoidable. We said, I said to you, I understand when we cut corners. I get it, right? I get it, particularly when you're in an environment when you've been assigned to be this full-time disciplinarian. So if that's the case, how in the world are you going to be able to carve out time to have a pre-observation conference, a post-observation conference, and sustain a clinical relationship with the teacher via clinical supervision? How are you going to be able to sustain that? So I get it. And that's why I say that this broadcast is not solely for the teacher, but it's, I mean, the assistant principal, but it's for the principal. The principal needs to be here. The assistant superintendent needs to be here. The superintendent needs to be here. The board members need to be here, because as long as those folks are allowing the assistant principal to operate as the dirty man, as doing the dirty work, you know, rolling up the sleeves and doing all the work that no one else wants to do, then the teachers are the one who suffer, because there's no direct correlation between your supervision and their continual growth and development, right? But then they suffer, but the big sufferers become the children, the students themselves. Because again, that direct correlation is just not there. So with that said, I got 14 questions today. We got Kim Wilson Daniel out there. Follow her on Twitter, at Kim Wilson Daniel, and she makes she takes my questions and compiles them into a beautiful poster that I've been calling it. It's a chart. It's a poster that you can just you can take that from the Twitter feed and use that however you see fit. It's always a different color every week. So just go to Twitter, follow Kim Wilson Daniel, and you'll have access to it. And I retweet it all week anyway, right? So look out for that. Let's jump into it. The first question of the 14 I got for you today, it's 11:13. I think my time should be good. Is there a correlation between my supervision of teachers and their continual improvement in instruction? With that, I got a passage I want to read to you. And I'm reading, I'm right in the assistant principal 50 now, in the second paragraph of question 11. Let me read this to you. It says, the question as to whether there's a correlation between your supervision of teachers and their continual improvement in instruction is basically asking, is there a causal effect between your supervision of teachers and their performance in the classroom? I want to read that sentence again. Is there a causal effect between your supervision of teachers and their performance in the classroom? Does your instructional leadership exist, and does it matter? Man, I gotta read that last question again. Does your instructional leadership exist, and does it matter? Ooh, that's one of the ones that make you say ouch, right? But you know that one between that causal effect between your supervision and their performance, that's an ouch too. That's a big one. So I remember back on week 1, I shared this where I'm going with you, but that was back in May. Let me reiterate something I said to you back then as it relates to what I just read to you. I experienced my administrative internship in 1995, 96. And it was a year long. So 95, 96 school year. And it entailed a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean my mentor, who was the assistant superintendent for human resources, Dr. Kenneth King here in Jersey, he exposed me to a lot, a great deal. But the one thing, like here's what he exposed me to, all this out here. But this one thing he said, see, like a lot of what he exposed me to were different responsibilities that he gave me, different things to read, want me to read state codes, state statutes, district policy, just a lot. But one day we're sitting at the conference room table after school, and he said something to me. And here's what he said. He said this question that I shared with you just now. That's where I got it from. He said, Kafele, when you become an administrator, assistant principal, whatever it is, he said, remember that the purpose of your supervision of teachers will be their continual improvement in instruction. Man, I have to tell you that it hit me when he said it, but it almost simultaneously left me, right? I don't know if you heard that. It hit me when he said it. Kafele, when you become administrator, the purpose of your supervision of teachers will be their continual improvement in instruction. So it hit me, bam. But then it left me. And it didn't come back to me until I became a principal. So it wasn't with me as an AP because I wasn't doing any work like that as an AP. I was supposed to, but I was a full-time disciplinarian. So when I became a principal, and here I am trying to emulate the Joe Clark style from Lean On Me, and then I get those test scores in year one, and they plummeted from already being low. I said, wait a minute. But where, in what way was I that supervisor that Dr. King, Kenneth King, had spoken on when he said the purpose of my supervision of teachers was their continual improvement in instruction? I knew I wasn't that guy. I wasn't him. I was disciplining kids. I was preaching sermons to young people. I was doing all these things, but I wasn't that one that was helping the teacher to become phenomenal. Do you hear me? So I had to change course. So, but see, so when I read that passage and talk about that causal effect, that's critical. That causal effect as to whether or not there's a relationship, a correlation between your supervision, and we can never get away from that. Your supervision of teachers. See, teacher can go out and read. Teacher can go out to the conference, to the institute, to the workshop, read the journal, read the book, have the thought partner, as some people call the accountability partner. But I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about you and you that got up at 11 Eastern time. Some of you at 7 o'clock in the Pacific Coast. So wherever you are, those of you that got up to hear this message this morning, I'm talking to you. What is the causal effect between your supervision, your evaluation, and the results of that teacher? That's the question that's being asked. So with that, let me couple it with this second question. I'm taking it right from the title of the book I wrote in 2018. Is my school a better school because I lead it? Let me give that to you again. And I put that emphasis on that word because deliberately, just like on the title, the word because is in capital letters. Is my school a better school because I lead it? So now with assistant principals, let me tweak the question. Is my school a better school because of my assistant principal leadership? And when I think about a school being a better school, my go-to always is the teacher in the classroom. What does teaching and learning look like? When I was this young rookie, neophyte, raw, green, didn't know anything except the Lean On Me video, and that's all movie, I should say, and that's all I knew. I thought as long as I had order in that building, right? We got one of Joe Clark's students on here too, I see. Good stuff, good stuff. When I was a first year principal, I thought order was what it was all about. I said, I got order, I got structure, I got rules, right? So that's all it mattered to me. So now all the parents, oh man, Kafele got the school on lockdown, man. He getting it done. I mean, I had my chest out, y'all. Head up. Yeah, I'm getting it done. I got it on lock. See, but then I found out something. That did not correlate into student achievement. That just meant I had structure and order in the school. That's all it meant. It did not mean the students are now learning. It's a condition for learning, but it didn't translate into learning. You see the difference? It's a condition, but it didn't translate. See, so now I had to think about that. So now the fast forward, I shared this with you 11 weeks ago. I want to revisit it. Every day after school, as a principal, I would stand outside and be accessible to students as they were leaving. I always say there's only one place for a principal to be. So assistant principals, as you're planning for your principalship one day, hear me. There's only one place for a principal to be at dismissal. One, numero uno, just one. And that place is outside on those grounds with those young people. There's no other place to be. No staff meeting. Staff got to wait. No meeting with the secretary, meeting with a teacher, observation conference, meeting with whomever. No, if those students are leaving that building, the only place for you to be is out there with them. It gives them access to you. It gives you an opportunity to communicate with them. And it just shows the community at large and the parents your presence, which matters, right? So I'm out there. But once they leave and clear the campus, I remained out there, and it was only me in the building. And here's the thing. I was out there because of a ritual that I had put in place. And the ritual was, I'm going to have conversation with myself now as it related to the building. Here's what it looked like. Hey, Kafele. Hey, Principal Kafele. I'm pointing at the school right now. Is that school a better school because I lead it? I ask myself that question 180 days a year, every day of the school year. Is that school a better school because I lead it? Meaning, could someone else come into my space, my school, and alter the trajectory of my students, that my students can perform at higher levels, that there's a greater probability that they'll be successful if they brought somebody in here to replace me? I dare anybody out there watching today, or anybody who will watch the videos during the week, I challenge you to ask yourself that question every day and to live with your answer. Well, see, when I answered the question, I didn't allow my ego to jump in and answer it for me, because my ego is going to say, yes, I'm the greatest thing ever born, right? That's what the ego might say. And I'm saying that collectively, meaning us. The ego might jump in and say, yeah, you the right one. But I said, ego, I got to part with you for a minute. Ego, sit over here. Now let's ask the question again. Is that school a better school because I lead it? And let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys something. On many of those days, my answer was an emphatic no. 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 It was not. Let me tell you why. Because I had two non-negotiables, just two. Of all the things on your and my plate, I had two non-negotiables. Number one, instructional leadership. That's number one. Number two, student engagement. That's number two. But I don't want to focus on student engagement today. Just the instructional leadership. Instructional leadership. That was my number one non-negotiable. So I'm asking myself, who were you today, buddy, as instructional leader? Here's my answer. I was nothing. Because I had no pre-observation conference. I did no observation. I mean observations of quality. Doesn't have to be formal, but quality observation rooted in a pre-observation conference, not some drive-by. right? But a quality observation rooted in a discussion, as we talked about last week, so I don't have to rehash that. Or post-observation conference. So in other words, my day was not comprised of any of that. So in my mind, my day did not measure up to my non-negotiable. Hey, leader out there watching this morning. Hey, leader that will watch the video later in the week. What's your non-negotiable as it relates to instruction in the classroom? Or what's your non-negotiable period, whatever it may be? What's that thing that you said, I can miss this, I can miss that, I can miss this, I can miss that. But this thing here, this must be done, or I'm not who I think I am. Do you have that non-negotiable? I can't even speak. Do you have that non-negotiable? See, that's the question I'm asking. Well, I had that non-negotiable that said, if I'm not instructional within my leadership, right? If I'm not instructional within my leadership, then what in the world do they need me for? Because there's somebody else out there with an instructional mindset that understands that he or she can come to that school and help that teacher that was written off by some other school. And now that teacher's in your school, but that person with that mindset knows I can take that teacher and make that teacher phenomenal. See, that's what that instructional mindset does. See, as opposed to that one that said, I got to get rid of this teacher. Oh my God, this teacher's terrible. I got to get rid of this teacher. See that one with that instructional mindset. I mean, they may reach that conclusion at some point, but not from the outset. From the outset, okay, what do I have to do to coach this teacher up, right? Because that's what you are. You're a coach and you're a cheerleader at the same time. So what do I have to do to coach this teacher up? To make this teacher who that teacher conceptualized that he or she could be when they first decided that they wanted to become a teacher. That's you. I want to be that guy. And when I'm standing in front of that building and I know clearly I was not that guy that day, then I did not measure up to my non-negotiable. That's the point that I'm making. So I'm asking you, what's your non-negotiable? What's that thing you said, man, I got to do this. Y'all, I got 3 pages of notes here. I better keep it moving, right? Y'all, and don't y'all run off nowhere. No, question number 3. Are my teachers improving instructionally because of my direct supervision? Let me read that again. Are my teachers improving instructionally because of my direct supervision? Let me give you these 2 points to support that. Number 1, I'm thinking about when I'm in my role of coach. I coach a lot of principals across the country. So we spend the day going classroom to classroom, to walk in the halls, talking. You know, I'm coaching. I'm not there doing a workshop. And when we get to a room, one of the things I ask the principal or the assistant principal, either one, I say, hey, leader, before we walk in, and I say this for every classroom we visit, I want you to take this and own this now. I say, before we walk in, talk to me about what you know that's already going on in that classroom instructionally. Let that marinate for a second, because that was heavy duty. Let me say that again. I say to that principal or that assistant principal, talk to me about what you already know that is happening in that classroom right now, instructionally, while we're out here in the hallway and the doors closed and we don't hear what's happening in there. Man. Somebody better hit that share button and say, Kafele dropping bombs. Right? Somebody need to hit that retweet button and say, Kafele like throwing jabs at us this morning, right? He throwing hooks and so forth, uppercuts, man. Hit that retweet, hit that share button. Let them know I'm putting it out there. What am I saying though? I'm saying how are you instructional leader in the truest sense of the word, of the terminology? How are you that? And then you walk to a classroom and you in for a surprise. How is that? It's not possible. Do you hear me? Yolanda said, whoo! See, See it's not possible. You can't walk in a classroom blind and you instructional leader and you walk in there, oh my God, I'm pleasantly surprised. This is really good stuff. No, not in school. I mean, you could walk in some store and maybe they got it set up nice and the displays are nice and the salesperson's nice and the music's nice and you walk in there, oh my God, this is such a pleasant environment. But not your school. You can't walk into school a classroom in your school pleasantly surprised. You have to already know what's happening in there because you are part of the reason. You are part of the influence. You ain't walking in there with a visitor. I said ain't for emphasis. You ain't walking in there with a visitor. And then you walk in there, wow, this is good stuff. Man, you look crazy. You can't do that. You have to be able to stand outside that classroom and you already know, you already anticipating because you read those lesson plans. You engaged in that pre-observation conference. You got a clinical relationship with that teacher. You know that teacher as if that's your best friend. You know that teacher's practices as if that's your best friend. You're not going in there surprised. So, hey, somebody out there listening, I'm stepping on your toes. I'm doing it deliberately. Matter of fact, I'm stomping on your toes, right? Because, see, I'm saying to you, if you're going into that classroom and you don't already know what's going on, that means you have no influence. You just a spectator going to a sporting event, watching a game. You don't know what's going to happen. You just hope for the best. You go to a game, your favorite team, maybe whatever, I'm not going to name teams, whatever your favorite team is, and you hoping baseball, since I'm wearing a baseball jersey, you hoping for a home run. You hoping for an RBI. You hoping for a base hit. You hoping your team wins. Well, you can't be going into that classroom hoping for things. You got to go into that classroom already knowing because you have a sustained clinical relationship with that teacher, right? We're talking instruction today. I don't know if they talk about this in grad school, man. Maybe I need to like go somewhere and apply and get me a professorship so I can teach this, right? At the grad school level to get folks ready for these positions because some folks are walking in here, they're not ready. Right. But that's the first thing I ask. I got something else. First thing I say, I got something else I say to that principal or that assistant principal before they walk in. I say, hey, assistant principal. Hey, principal, talk to me about your expectations of this classroom before we walk in. Oh, man. What do you expect when you go in? Now, here's the thing, and here's the clarification. I don't mean expectations about everything happening in that room, because you might be talking to me until I turn blue in the face, and I might pass out and fall asleep on my feet, because you're telling me about every indicator in the classroom. No, I'm talking about talk to me about your expectations relative to where you are along the continuum with that teacher. See, that's what I'm talking about. I don't need you to talk to me about expectations about the 1,000 different indicators in the classroom. I want you to talk to me about your expectations. So I'm saying, hey, principal, hey, assistant principal, what are your expectations when we walk in as it relates to that previous conference that you had with that teacher? Right. That's what I'm talking about. So therefore, both the administrator and myself, we going in there with a narrow lens. I ain't going in there looking at everything because I'm not there for that. I'm going in there looking through that same narrow lens that I want that leader to look through. That's what I'm going there for, because I have to make assumptions that teacher is growing. So all those indicate we got that. That's straight. We're not going to keep revisiting the same indicators all year long. Okay, at some point we have to have mastered that. So now let's look at that part that is not mastered, that's still troubling, that's still deficient, and that's the area that we want to focus on, right? So that's So when I talk about that question, are my teachers improving instructionally because of my direct supervision? So then I want to tie that in. Okay, so therefore, teacher, what do you already know about this class, and what are your expectations? Right? Let me keep it moving because that time is flying around the clock. Number 4, are my teachers growing in their practice because of my presence in the building? Oh man, that's a big one. Let me get that to you again. Are my teachers growing in their practice because of my presence in the building? In other words, here's what I'm asking you. When I say, not asking you, what I'm asking. When I say the word presence, right? That word presence, I'm essentially asking the question, what does your presence represent? What message does your presence convey? See, so the distinction between this and the previous question about your direct supervision, I'm saying, okay, now let's go beyond your direct supervision. Just your presence, just your strut, just your swag in that building. What message does it convey? Because I can tell you right now, I'm in enough schools to make a definitive statement. I go into schools where the presence says discipline, where the presence says frustration. Like I look at your face, I look at your body, I look at your posture, and the presence is saying, I'm frustrated. Presence is saying, I'm stressed out. Presence is saying, man, the pressure coming from central office in the State Department, right? Or presence is saying, these parents are out of control. I can read it. It's like your body is a newspaper. I can read it. These parents are off the hook. The kids don't want it. See, you don't have to articulate that. You can read that in an individual. Just listen to the things they do say for a minute. Watch how they walk for a minute. Watch what they prioritize for a minute, and you see their presence. I have a presence on this video, right? So now, like, you've been with me, those of you who've been with me for a while, you know how I'm going to bring it because you know my presence. You know my style. I'm not bragging. I'm talking about my style of delivery. You because of my presence. This is who I am, right? So I'm saying to you, what is your presence and what does it represent? Does it represent instructional leadership? When the staff think of you, when the students think of you, do they see you through that instructional lens? Is that the way you have characterized yourself? Is that the way you have painted yourself, molded yourself, shaped yourself, fashioned yourself in the presence of your staff? See, that's what I'm asking you. Y'all writing a lot of comments here. I'm going to read them all when I'm done at 12 o'clock, y'all. I'm going to read all of them because that's what I do. If somebody would go get a leader said that discomfort speaking, y'all know, look, y'all. For those of you that don't know, that haven't heard me say this before, I don't come to speak to motivate anymore. That was old me. That's when my hair was black, right? And when I had it on the top of my head, I don't come to speak to people to motivate them anymore. I speak to people to make them feel uncomfortable. I'm throwing jabs, man. I'm not trying to motivate nobody. That's in my rear view mirror, right? I'm too old for that. I'm here to make people feel uncomfortable so that you go back and fix whatever that is that you've been sitting in comfort in for far too long, right? I'll let somebody else come and fire you up, and then you be fired up until you get to the parking lot. And then once you start the car, you ain't thinking about their speech. But if I could say something that kind of hit you, kind of stung you, kind of gave you a little pain, you can't go to the car and forget that because the pain is still there. The bruise is still there because the speaker says something that made you say, ouch. You see how that works? See, so I'm saying to you, I'm trying to create discomfort so you go back and fix whatever needs to be fixed. I'm on an assistant principal mission. I don't think there's anybody in America that's on this mission, because if they are, they haven't revealed themselves. I haven't seen them. I'm on an assistant principal mission. This thing with assistant principals being full-time disciplinarians, I'm on a one-man crusade to say that crap is over. That's why I wrote this here. That's why I'm doing these free seminars every Saturday. And wait till you see what I got coming in the fall, right? So therefore, let me get my focus back. Hit that share button, hit that retweet button. I'm ready. Here we go. Number 5. Are my teachers, watch this, y'all. I wrote in capital letters like I got my personal notes on here, and then I got my public notes. On my personal notes, it's in capital letters, yellow highlighter, bold font. It says, "This is the question," with an exclamation point saying this the one right here. Hey, put seatbelts on for this one. Watch this. Put your strap up for this question. It says, "Are my teachers at an advantage because I am their supervisor?" Ooh, that one stings, man. I gotta give you that one again. Are my teachers at an advantage because I am their supervisor? Whew. You talk about something stinging. You talk about stomping someone's toes. I'm asking you, is the teacher at an advantage because of you? Because see, remember the question, you guys know I wrote this book, The Teacher 50, and it's got a question: are my students at an advantage because I am their teacher? Well, I'm saying here, I'm asking the question, are my teachers, this is you now, are my teachers at an advantage because I am their supervisor? See, that's the question. So in other words, is that teacher in an advantageous place because you happen to supervise them? Me as a teacher, let's say I'm a teacher and I want to grow. I want to get good. I want to be great. I want to be extraordinary. I want to be phenomenal. I want to be at my apex. I want to be at the pinnacle. I want to be that one, right? So now I want to be that teacher, but I got you as my supervisor. Are you the one that's going to get me to that level? That's what that question's asking. Or are you going to take me down to another level? See, that's what that question's asking. That question is asking, is it something about you being my supervisor that now I'm going to be on the trajectory to greatness as a teacher? Because if I'm at that level of performance as a teacher, that means that my students are up there with me. Man, I tell you something. If I was outside right now talking like this, I would be putting a lot of people at risk because I'm spitting all over the place, right? But that's just what it is, right? I'm inside. When I go out, I put on that mask, right? So my son laughing at me, right? So it's on my computer. Now my wife on my case, right? So I'm saying to you, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. That teacher has to be at an advantage because of you, because you are fully committed. You are all in with making that teacher phenomenal. Because the justification for calling that teacher phenomenal are the children are achieving. See, let's keep going. Let me go to question number 6. Supervising, and it starts with a statement: supervising teachers instructionally is a full-time job in and of itself. So let me say that again. That's not the question. Supervising teachers instructionally is a full-time job in and of itself. Think about it. Think about everything that's on your plate, right? Everything that's on your plate. Just supervising staff, that's full-time, right? But now here's the question. Question 6, how do I manage supervising my staff instructionally while simultaneously supervising my support staff and non-certificated staff? Oh, man. See, I've been on here talking about teachers the whole time. 18, the past 10 weeks, and now this week 11. But think about that, the rest of the staff. Think about, like for example, let's break down these categories. Think about that custodian that needs you in terms of being that phenomenal custodian. Think about that security officer. Think about that librarian. Think about that nurse. Think about that counselor, right? Think about that paraprofessional. Think about that. I don't know if you would supervise cafeteria workers or not. They may be contracted out. I don't know how that works. But just think about that technology person. Think about that instructional coach, right? Think about that teacher leader. All those other folks on staff. They need you too. It's not like you're going to supervise and evaluate the teacher through a clinical model, and then with the other staff, just here, sign this evaluation. You're doing a good job. That doesn't make them great at what they do. So now, who are you as it relates to the rest of the staff that you evaluate? Because for me as a teacher, I mean, as a principal and assistant principal, I didn't just have teachers that I supervised. I got a little bit of everybody in the building. So since I've got a little bit of everybody in the building, I'm saying to you, I'm asking you the same question. How are you superstar? How are you Superman, Superwoman for the remainder of the staff in addition to the teaching staff? I tell you right now, just that question alone, that question alone should weed out a lot of people who like let's say we got some aspiring people watching, right? Just that question alone should probably weed out some people like if they know themselves and they say, man, he just said something there. I don't know if I'm cut out for that. I mean, I got to be full-time instructional leader, but then I got to still remember my librarian, my secretaries, the custodians, the security, the paraprofessional, the instructional coach, the this, the that, the this, the that, them too. Yeah, guess what? Them too. So now that takes me right back to what we've been saying for the past several weeks: the big picture, the macro, the culture of the building. The chart rules and consequences is not the way to go. The culture of the building has to speak the expectation. The culture of the building has to speak the standard. Because when the culture of the building is the one that is the mouthpiece that does all the talking, that takes care of the discipline problem. See, but if you got discipline problems and you're handling them with consequences, that sick culture that's in place that has been the vehicle for those issues in the first place, that's still in place. That's like a pandemic. This COVID-19 pandemic. People thought because the weather changed, things were going to get better. Guess what? It's still there. It's still there. It's all over the place. It ain't going nowhere, right? Well, it's the same thing. You keep on signing off on disciplinary referrals. You keep on putting youngsters in detention. You keep on suspending youngsters, but that climate is still there. Just like a pandemic, it's still there. You have to give that maximum attention, right? Let's keep moving, y'all. It's getting late. Question number 7. Am I did I skip one? No. Am I a professional development resource for staff, right? Once again, am I a professional development resource for staff? Let me read you this short passage to support that. It says, and I'm in the assistant principal 50, by the way, and I'm on question 12, very first paragraph, half of it. As an AP, in addition to being one of your school's instructional leaders, you are one of your school's lead learners. Oh, man. I got to read that again. As an AP, in addition to being one of your school's instructional leaders, you are one of your school's lead learners. You must always model professional learning for your staff, period. Oh, man. That begs the question, and I got, where am I at now? It begs the question, as an assistant principal, I'm on number 8 because I don't even need commentary with that because number 8 will support it. As an assistant principal, in addition to my role as instructional leader, am I one of my school's lead learners? Let me read that to you again. As an assistant principal, in addition to my role as where I lost my place, my role as instructional leader, am I one of my school's lead learners? And then I got a sub question to that. What does it mean to be a lead learner? Man, so you got 2 things happening there. One question, but 2 things happening. Am I one of my school's lead learners? And then I'm asking, but what does that mean? What is a lead learner, right? So let me read the rest of the paragraph, and then we're going to talk about it. It says, your staff, particularly the staff you supervise, and I'm on question 12, first paragraph. Your staff, particularly the staff that you supervise, must see evidence that your professional learning continued and intensified after graduate school. Oh man, I can't even read the rest of this yet because I got to read that again. Your staff, particularly the staff you supervise, must see evidence that your professional learning, we're not even talking about staff now, your professional learning, lost my place, continued and intensified after graduate school. Let me keep going. You can't perform your duties as an instructional leader optimally if you are not growing as a leader. Education changes and evolves daily, and as an AP, you must grow and evolve daily along with it. Oh man, I just shared some stuff for y'all. So let's break this down. Lead learner. What are we saying? Before I jump into that, Facebook, hit that share button for me. Somebody somebody out there. Somebody can't wait to get back in school so they can suspend kids again. I know they out there. Those people exist. I can't wait to get back, man. I like that discipline thing, man. I've been there preaching to kids, suspending kids, putting them in detention. It's got my chest out. Look, hit that share button because that person needs to come on here and find out that what they're doing is all wrong, right? Twitter, hit that retweet button. Let them know too. But when you hit it, don't just hit the retweet and the share. Put a comment like get on board with this guy, right? So now here I'm saying that lead learner. When that became a buzzword a few years ago, because it wasn't long ago, it's like 3-4 years ago, whatever it was. I'm like, I fought that. I fought it publicly on Twitter. I'm like, nah, I ain't got no use for that word, lead learner. I said, how do I measure whether or not I'm the lead learner? Like I lead the learning, right? How do I measure that? And then I said, wait a minute. I said, I got to look at this thing differently. It doesn't mean I lead. I'm the leader of learning. Because in my mind, I said, how do I know that someone's not learning more than me? What do I know what they're doing on their top, right? So then I said, no, I'm looking at this thing all wrong. I said, as leader, I have to lead the learning. See, that's something different now. I said, as leader, I have to lead the learning. Said differently, I have to model the learning. I have to demonstrate the learning. I have to show staff that I am fully invested into my own learning, my own professional learning, my own professional growth, my own professional development. So therefore, I'm providing staff, I'm letting them know what I'm reading, right? I'm sharing that with them, whether it be articles, whether it be blogs, whether it be books. I'm sharing with them what I'm reading because I needed my staff to see me growing. I'm leading the learning. I'm modeling the learning. I'm being that example of the learning. I'm showing them that grad school wasn't enough. My learning can't stop with grad school. My learning can't be confined to a assigned professional development from a superintendent or assistant superintendent, that my learning is lifelong on my initiative, that I'm going to make sure that I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm growing, I'm developing ongoing. I'm asking you, hey, AP out there, what are, besides this book, because I hope you're reading this and I hope you're reading this, but besides these two, what are you reading? What's that book you're reading? What's that article you're reading? It's very interesting for me. I'm gonna share something with you. I put a lot of posts on social media. Some of them are very educational. Some of them are just kind of, just life stuff. And some of them are just personal, me about my life, right? But it's interesting for me. The post that I write, that I post, not I write, the post that I post, the ones that get the least attention are the ones that are educational. They get the least attention. You let me put a picture of me standing in the front of my house, oh man, that thing practically go viral. But you let me put an article from Ed Week, right, or some of these other organs, education organs, man, ain't nobody looking at that stuff. It's like crickets, right? So I'm saying here, that can't be who we are, right? We have to lead the learning. So now let me couple that, my other point, with social media. I'm leading learning on social media. I'm modeling learning on social media, because I've had friends say to me, why you keep posting them articles? Ain't nobody reading that stuff. Well, why you keep posting them blogs? Ain't nobody reading that stuff. I said, because I'm going to continue to model learning. I'm going to read the article myself, and then I'm going to share it. And if it gets 0 likes, 0 comments, 0 shares, that's okay. I'm still going to post, because there's a method to my madness. I'm leading the learning. I know I got educators following me on Facebook and Twitter. In fact, most of the people that follow me on Facebook and Twitter are educators, and a lot of them are administrators. So I'm going to model. I'm going to be an example. I'm going to lead the learning. I'm not going to quit on that and just put on popular posts, the ones that everyone likes, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put on the stuff that's talking about the classroom. I'm going to post the articles that talk about the leadership, even if nobody expresses any interest. I'm still going to do it, because I'm on that personal mission to be to be that lesson, to be that model, to be that example. So that's what I'm talking about when I say lead the learning. So I'm asking you, what does lead learner mean to you? But said differently, what does lead learner mean to your practice as a leader? Somebody out there, and I'm gonna read these. Feel free to write it right on the thread. I'm gonna read them all. Might take me 2 days, but I'm gonna read them. Because remember, I'm not just reading Facebook, I'm reading Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, right? So I'm gonna read them. But I'm asking you, in what ways are you a lead learner in your school? Man, I just saw my watch. Okay, look, let me step it up. Don't look, y'all, throw your minute hand back and make it 11:30, right? So we got a half hour to go. So here we go. Number 9. The classroom, matter of fact, I can go through these quickly. The classroom of 2010 is not the classroom of 2020. This is number 9. So the question is, as lead learner, do I position myself to help teachers to keep up with the change? Once again, the classroom of 2010 is not the classroom of 2020. So as leader, do I position myself to help teachers keep up with the change? And I can add to that, how do you keep up with the change? Now, those of you out there and you young heads, right? You know what I mean by that slang, young heads, like y'all a little bit younger than others. So you kind of know this change, because you part of that younger generation. So you get it a little bit more. But what about those of us who are like in our 50s, right? Or even those in their 40s, and the youngsters are like 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17. And the youngster of 2020 is not necessarily the youngster of 2010. How does your leadership take that stubborn teacher that's been doing this stuff since the 70s and help that teacher to adjust and adapt to the young, let's say that, 70s are still there, they're still in there, to adapt and adjust to the millennial children? Because that's a different child. That child has a computer in his hand. So said differently, that child has the world in her hand. Whereas you and I, like when I was a teacher, there was no such thing as a cell phone. Like nobody, it didn't exist, except probably the wealthy people, right? They're calling each other. And then when I became an assistant principal, I got my first cell phone. It's still sitting in the closet. I got my first cell phone. I felt like I was on the cutting edge because I was ahead of a lot of people. So now here we are, 2020. This ain't what I had back in 1997, 98. I had this big old clunky thing with an antenna you pull up, right? Now it's this. It's a computer. It's access to the world and the world's worst vices. That's a different youngster being exposed to this. Even if they don't want the exposure, they could stumble on it. I'm asking you, how do you position yourself to help that teacher to adapt to that change? Let me keep going. I'm going fast, y'all. Number 10. What professional development resources do I provide for my teachers? So what you providing for them? And as a matter of fact, I can combine it without giving commentary to 10. Let me combine it with number 11, right? So number 11, do I currently recommend conferences, institutes? I need some water on that one. Let me do it again. Do I currently recommend conferences, institutes, academies, workshops, trainings, and/or books, journals, websites, articles, and blogs for my teachers' professional development? Man, that was a lot there. Yeah, we got a couple minutes. I got to read that to you again. Do I currently recommend conferences, institutes, academies, workshops, trainings, and or books, journals, websites, articles, and blogs for my teachers' professional development? So let me sum that up and ask you like this. What you recommending? See, what are you suggesting? What are you modeling? See, are you a professional development resource? See, now I'm not even talking about the pre and post observation. I'm not talking about the classroom visit. I'm not talking about the clinical supervision. I'm asking you, what are you recommending? And maybe not just for individual teachers, but for staff in terms of book study, article study, journal study, whatever kind of study, right? Or groups going to conferences, groups going to institutes, groups going to seminars, groups going to academies, whatever the case may be. Like, I happen to know that there are teams on these Saturday morning calls. I know that because a lot of you have told me that. So it's not just individuals checking in every Saturday morning, but there are entire leadership teams watching together. One team, I forgot where they're from, but I know that right after I go off at 12:30, they're going to be online discussing this from 12:30 to 12:30 to 1:45 this afternoon. So they are that serious about this, right? They're not just watching me then go on with their day on Saturday. They're going to get together, the whole team, 12:30 to 1:45, and dissect everything that was said today. That's leadership. I got to scream that one. That's leadership. See, that's what that's about, right? So I combined 10 and 11. So those books, those journals, like you heard me say, I'm gonna be speaking at the ASCD conference as a keynote. So ASCD, have you recommended membership? National Association of Elementary School Principals, have you recommended membership? National Association of Secondary School Principals, have you recommended membership? Association of Middle Level Educators, have you recommended membership? Black Educators Rock. I gotta say it again because that's like they dear to my heart. Black Educators Rock, have you recommended membership? National Alliance of Black School Educators, have you recommended membership, right? And I can go on and on. For those organizations that are watching me this morning, please forgive me. I can't think of them all because it's not in my notes, right? But all those organizations, they need, your staff members need to join to take advantage of all the professional development that's out there for them. Conferences, books, journals, blog posts, you name it. That's where you come in, right? So let me keep going. I'm almost done. Number 12. Can my teachers look to me as a source of professional learning? So I can do that one quickly. With everything that's been said, can that teacher therefore now look to you and say, my assistant principal's watching, my principal is a source of my learning. I see you out there, Altamise, Black Educators Rock, right? So, and that's rockconference.org. We'll talk about that again in a few minutes. So I'm saying once again to you, can they look at you as a source of their own professional learning? It matters. I'm almost done. I said I got 14. I'm on number 13. Does my staff see me as an educator? I got the word educator in quotes. Does my staff see me as an educator in the truest sense of the word? We in real time, doorbell ringing. In the truest sense of the word. I want to read. I got one more passage to read to you. Again, I'm in the assistant principal 50, right? One more passage to read to you. It says, you cannot afford to have your teachers see you in the stereotypical role of AP, disciplinarian, cafeteria supervisor, school bus supervisor. You must position yourself in such a way that your teachers see you as an educator, as one of them, as a source of professional learning, as an instructional leader. Let me just hit that last part one more time. You must position yourself in such a way that your teachers see you as an educator, as one of them, as a source of professional learning, as an instructional leader. Man. That's all in here. That's why you got to get your hands on it. It's short. It's to the point. But I bet you even when you become a principal, it's a resource, it's a reference for you throughout your career, right? So I'm saying that to say that's my commentary for number 13. So I'm on the last one, number 14. Are my teachers at an advantage as a result of me being a professional development resource toward their professional growth. So before I said talk about advantage as their supervisor, but now I'm asking, are my teachers at an advantage as a result of me being a professional development resource toward their professional growth? Man, I did it. I'm only a couple minutes over. Listen, before you leave, folks, I got you. Let me close out. Give me a minute. Parting question. You know, I always give you an assignment. Parting question. Take this with you. Let it marinate. Think it out. Think it over. Think it through throughout the week. How will I become an even better professional development resource for my staff? I want you to think about that. Those of you who are collaborating with one another, just consider it. How will I become an even better professional development resource for my staff? What are those things that you need to do? Next week, week 12, we going into the principal assistant principal relationship. A lot of y'all been waiting for this one because you've been hitting me up like, can you talk about the relationship with the principal? We getting ready to dive in deep. The principal assistant principal relationship. We're going to talk about that next week, probably for the next few weeks, right? My books, I'm not going to show you all of them right now because I went over time, but these two I am. The assistant principal 50. You got to get this, y'all. If you don't have this, don't rely just on my videos. Don't just rely on my live session. Don't just rely on when you see me live when I get back on them planes, which I don't know when that's going to be. Get the book. Get it today. Don't wait. Get it today. And then while you're at it, if you aspire to be a principal, the Aspiring Principal 50, that's for you too. Get this one. I got 2 new books out. I wrote this in 2019, this one in 2020. So we got 2 out at the same time. Get them both, right? And then moving on. The Black Educators Rock Conference is coming up July 16 through 19. rockconference.org. Go there, register. I see you on one of those days, but I want you to be there all 4 days because, man, 16, 17, 18, 19, 4 days, it's going to be out of this world. President Dr. Melissa Chester's got things up her sleeve ready to go. Man, it's going to be big time. You just got to be in the place. This is the 3rd annual, I think. No, this ain't 3rd. It's 4th. I forget the numbers. Then my 3rd annual School Leadership Institute. That's July 15 and 16. I want to see you. July 15 and 16, School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. Go to principalkafele.com. Scroll down on my homepage. You'll see it. It's just a nominal fee. It's not that much. It's nothing. It's nothing. Just go on there, register, and I'll see you for 3 hours, 9 to 12 on the 15th, 3 hours, 9 to 12 on the 16th. On the 16th. And then I'll see you at the Black Educators Rock. And then ASCD Summer Virtual Conference. Oh, man, they got over 10,000 people registered. Did you hear me? It's over 10,000 people registered. I'm keynoting that thing on the 17th. So I want you to be there. I'm talking about COVID-19 and social justice education, right? Teaching and leading through a global pandemic and social change is my topic. Right. So I'll be a little bit different from what we talk about here. I want to see you there. Be there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. School Leadership Thoughts. Hit that button today. We're up to 8,000 now, but I'm trying to get it to 10,000 before we hit week 18. So make sure you subscribe to that. And then lastly, as I always end, y'all, diet, exercise. I won't go through all of it. I'm not going to put my mask on today. Just look, y'all, eat right. That's all. You can't do this work and you're not eating right. Eating all them snacks, eating all that junk. Take it from your brother. I had the heart attack for you 5 years ago. Main artery filled with plaque. I did it for you. So now take care of yourself and then get that exercise in. I'm doing 3 miles later today. If I could do it, you could do it. Right? So get the diet and the exercise right. And that takes care of week 11. Week 11 is now in the books. So listen here, y'all. Have a great week. First of all, let me say thank you for being here. Thank you, and thank you. Much appreciated. Keep on joining me. We're going all the way to week 18, and then I got something for you in the fall, man. I got something for you in September, man. We're going to take this thing all the way throughout the year. I got you. But we'll talk about that later. So have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Now cock that fist back and count with me. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I'll see you next Saturday at 11 o'clock Eastern.